Good evening, wrestling fans, and welcome to a brand new episode of Flesh Wound Features Presents Squared Circle Society. I am Daniel Shine, joined as always by Todd Loya, Pugs Dread, and our own masked mutilator, Kruger. Gentlemen, how goes your evenings?
Namaste.
Goes well.
Chilling.
Sweet. We've got Squared Circle Society, but we're doing horror, so this one makes sense for both. And, we'll get right into it. Why not? So our film tonight has a complicated history that we'll get into. It's Masked Mutilator from Intervision. We're reviewing the Blu-ray. And it's from co-directors Nick Lalo and Jeff Beltzner. And in 1994, a production team in eastern Pennsylvania brought together a group of local pro wrestlers and young actors to make a horror action film. A quarter of a century later, the movie was finally finished. After accidentally killing an opponent in the ring, a professional wrestler takes a job at a group home for youth offenders. But when a psychopath wearing a wrestling mask begins butchering the teenage residents, their rehabilitation will become a no-holds-barred battle for survival. WWE and Stampede veteran Brick Bronski, Jeff Sibak, and Doug Flex Yasinski, James DeBello, and effects master Glenn Hetrick co-star in this sex and violence throwback to regional exploitation, directed by Bronski and completed from the original 16mm footage stored in the executive producer's basement for the last 25 years. So it only makes sense that you go first on this one, Kruger. What did you think of Masked Mutilator?
First question I have is, are we doing a spoiler section for this?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to?
Yeah. Definitely, because I got some shit to fucking talk about. First off, I have to say the sound of this movie was very appealing to me. I mean, fucking a slasher, intertwined with pro wrestling story. I mean, it sounded cool, and definitely like at the beginning of the movie, I was like, oh shit, this may actually be good. But this movie was executed like shit. Like, it really was. I'm so fucking angry. There was only one wrestling move, first off, in the fucking movie. Only one. And he's putting people in the Cobra Clutch. And then fucking, other than that, like, there was a twist that was so shitty. And just like, it kind of, it's so hard for me to talk about it without getting into the spoilers. But overall, I thought this movie was complete fucking garbage. And I was very, very fucking disappointed, especially with it being a slasher and he's a pro wrestler. You know, he killed somebody in the ring. It sounded so good and they just executed it like fucking garbage.
Yes, it's no WrestleManiac, which... this kind of made me wish I was watching. Not that movie was perfect, but
I'd rather watch
El Gigante.
Yeah, there you go. There's another one. Yeah, there's a few. Of course, Mil Mascaras, Blue Demon. I mean, there was a lot in Mexico that
no love for pro wrestling, pro wrestlers versus zombies.
There, yes, from Trauma.
I never watched that motherfucker.
It's
I got a lot of people in that.
I will tell you, it's better than this.
Yeah,
it still has issues, but it's a lot better than this.
Yeah. Well, you got Jim Duggan and
Well,
Piper killing zombies. It's it's pretty cool.
Matt Hardy.
Yeah, I think he was
franchise.
Fat Hardy at that point. That was during his.
I bet he could still fit in an MRI.
Damn, that's fucked up.
See, we should.
I told that at the beginning. Never mind.
Yeah, no, that was the other show, Dan.
The other show. All right. Yeah. Fuck you, Todd. That's all I need to know.
I was going to say, yeah, we should have made a much.
I can't fit in them either.
Yeah, they're not like the tubes like before. Like, at least this place wasn't. So I was like, oh shit, my shoulders too.
He wouldn't take his hat off. It became a whole issue.
That could be it. Yeah. So Masked Mutilator. There's obviously a story behind this one. I get it. Like, quarter century just sitting in a guy's basement unfinished, but just because it has a story behind it doesn't mean it's good. it really isn't. I was hoping for, as Kruger said, there isn't even any cool kills in this. I mean, obviously the effects
not at fucking all, man.
Yeah. The best you get is a little blood spray out of a mouth. I mean, which is, effects were never my strong suit, but there are things you can do when you have no money. So I can't. And shit, Glenn Hetrick went on to be on Face Off on Sci-Fi. So bigger things, but
I have a story to tell about him on a Patreon show.
Oh, it must be bad.
It's not that bad, but it's.
Well, there you go. Patreon plug. Patreon.com/FleshWoundFeatures. We actually, true story. Some of my very first podcasts back in the horror theater radio days. The first big show we did, we interviewed the cast of Face Off, season 2, I believe, and then we did another Face Off show. So, I don't think we. No, Hetrick was just a host, right? I haven't watched it all. Okay, there you go. So yeah, I remember Tate Steinsick. Yeah, Joe Castro's.
Did you guys like Monster Man too?
Yeah, I did.
I loved it.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
We had Joe Castro. Didn't we have Joe Castro on the show?
Yeah, he's actually called in.
Yeah, because a couple times. I know he listens.
Yeah,
well, hopefully he still does. Because I know we reviewed it. Well, I think we did Terror Tunes 3 from him.
Yeah.
Or was it? Yeah, Lizzie Borden, so of course.
Yeah.
And his documentary, Unconventional, which is really interesting.
Very, yes, very. So, yeah, obviously we love wrestling. We love horror movies. We were hoping.
I'm sorry. I said it's Frank and Fake. That's the name of the documentary. I said Unconventional. Different movie.
Oh, cool. I couldn't remember what it was called, but yes. All right, Pugs, what did you think of Masked Mutilator?
I think I might be the odd man out here. I had a good time with it.
Oh, really?
I recognize all the flaws. And I agree with you, it's a total shit movie. But that didn't stop me from having fun. This cast of adults playing fucking children in a home.
40 years old.
Yeah. And like, okay. And homeboy doing karate. I know Todd's with me. There's a hard R. There's a good scene with saying no.
I'm closer to Pugs on this one.
Yeah.
With its flaws and all. I like Brick Bronski, even though he can't act for shit. He's still likable. But I'm a trauma mark, so Class Nukamai 2 and 3.
Those haircuts, especially that weird ass mullet, and then the short shorts.
Yeah. I was entertained.
That Kelly Bundy wannabe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was entertained, but for all the wrong reasons. So I 100% see where you're at, Kruger.
You know what would have made this better? It wouldn't have made it great, but imagine instead of Bronski, we had Tommy Lister Jr. in the role, and he just did Zeus. Like he just went no holds barred. It like ruined his career. So now he's like the head of a group home. You would have gotten more laughs.
It should have been Virgil. Watching you, Dan.
There you go. And he's not intimidating enough, though.
He got your money.
He did.
Yeah, he punked you out. Do you know that Kruger? Do you know that story, Kruger? Dan and Virgil. Well, we'll save that for after we finish the movie, after spoilers.
Very well. So yeah, other than a couple lines of dialogue that might give you a chuckle, Rocker, you're into heavy metal. I
love the fact too that the fucking boombox is playing with the tape thing broken. Like it's not even there.
But it's not stupid enough to be funny, though. You know what I mean? Like,
I disagree.
There was a lot of.
I'm with Dan on this one. I usually disagree with Dan, but
there we go. And I think also the fact, like, you have a young James DeBello who's.
I didn't even recognize him, so you said his name.
Yeah. This is probably his first movie, I'm assuming. Or
there was one thing I wanted to say. That I just fucking remembered when I started watching it. Before I actually found out about the backstory and shit. I thought it was, supposed to be made, to look like a 90s, movie.
Right.
But then I fucking found out and I was like, oh, this was just, fucking a bunch of footage taken and then they put in the bookends.
Yeah.
And at least that's what I read on it. And that made me fucking so angry because everything, because I was like, oh, this is, looks like it's shot in the 90s. Like, that's awesome. And then when I found out it was shot in the 90s, I'm like pissed off because it's garbage. And like, that would have been the only redeeming thing about it.
And we've got a Caitlyn Jenner lookalike in this, which was maybe the other funny bit. But man, it's hard to screw up something like this, and I feel like they kind of did.
I think so too, man.
Yeah, I'm not saying maybe you had the means to make a great film.
I'm just saying, if somebody wants to make this fucking movie, call me up. All right.
There you go.
I'm already thinking we should have done this when we had the arena.
Like, I'll do this 1,000 fucking times better than this movie. I promise you.
Even if you don't have money, there's a lot that you could do. I mean, if you have access to a wrestling ring and there you go. Yeah, I could certainly. I never directed anything, but I could certainly write something doable. So I don't know. Maybe we need to make
between Todd and I, we can direct, no problem.
Yeah. I hate.
We can fucking do this. What are we doing?
I'm already into it.
As soon as this fucking
down.
bullshit's over, we're doing this.
It's hard to make a movie more so than you think. I mean, I will say that, but this is one of those rare occasions where I'm like, you know what? I could do better. I could. I know wrestling. I know horror. I can make a more entertaining movie. This one, yeah, this one's pretty bad. Other than a couple unintentional laughs, and I mean a couple. I give this one a 1, and we'll talk a little more in the spoilers. What say you, Kruger?
I think 1's being way too fucking generous. This is the lowest score. This is probably the lowest score I'm ever going to give a movie that we review, but I give this a fucking 0.
Right. Well, you're not going to like my score.
Yeah, I know. It's funny because you and I usually are on the same page.
A lot of the time. But like my sarcastic brain and me just like, I think I had a good time watching it with my I was just shitting all over it the entire time. Like, this is kind of stupid. Mm-hmm. But like, that made me enjoy it. I'm giving it a 3 with a warning. It is shit. But you might have a good time.
I'm with you on that, and I agree with what you said, but I'm just a little lower. Even calling it average is giving it a lot. So I'm gonna go with the 2.5, but that's just because I had fun with.
Okay.
It was bad, but entertainingly bad for me.
But I will throw out there WrestleManiac, not a great film, but Rey Mysterio Sr.
Oh, that's why I've never seen it.
Senior, the uncle.
Okay.
And the one I said is a short that's on Shudder called El Gigante.
Yes,
right.
Yes. And also go back and watch some of the Mil Mascaris stuff, and there's a lot of lucha themed horror stuff.
I'm out.
Damn, Todd.
I'm okay to say that. I could talk shit on lucha. It's my people.
All right. So now we will give you guys a spoiler warning. So if you still want to see Mass Mutilator for some reason and don't want it spoiled, bow out now. Spoiler warning. And Todd's got it going there for our video listeners as well. All right. So Kruger, rant away.
All right. First off, man, like, the wrestling scene wasn't terrible. Like, that's the only thing I have to say. Like, the wrestling scene itself, when he was in the ring and shit, wasn't terrible. But why the fuck would you not have this dude body slamming people and fucking giving them a pile driver? Somebody's head pops off.
Like, and he's a worker too.
Yeah, and these guys were real workers.
Yeah.
Well, let me get to that in a minute. But because they're shit workers too. Fucking the fight scenes. It's like, I know you like the Karate Guy, Pugs, but I don't know. The karate shit just bothered the fuck out of me. The kills, there's a fucking kill, man, where he has a guy ready for a bear hug, right? But before he even locks the fucking bear hug in, he has the guy up by his shirt, and the guy just starts squirting blood out of his mouth before he even locks the fucking bear hug in. Like, what the hell kind of shit is that? Like, that is so fucking bad and so lazy that it just made me so mad, man. And then, like, fucking the part where it goes, oh, here's the twist. It really isn't the wrestler. It's just other fucking buff dude. He's fucking telling the guy to go call the police, right? And he's looking up the fucking phone book to call the police. Like, you don't know 911, motherfucker?
It's no longer an emergency.
Yeah, he does say that it's no longer an emergency.
It's so stupid.
I didn't get that. I didn't get that.
He says it right before that happened. That's what I was dying. That part made me die.
I think I was just in such a rage.
I was gonna say that.
Well, and then we get to the point where fucking the two big dudes are fighting, and I just like pro wrestling. Like, I'll be the first to say pro wrestling in general is very homoerotic, but that shit was not pro wrestling. That was just like it was way fucking. It was just stupid. Like, you guys. The whole movie, man, I hated it. I hated it so much. And then the after credits started, and I was just like, you guys can fuck off too. Like,
they have the balls to give those after credits scenes. Yeah, a little selfish.
Who would you guys cast? Well, let's make it interesting. Who would you cast from the Cali wrestling scene in your horror movie? Your masked mutilator. I don't know if you have to be political. I know you don't want to leave somebody out.
Might as well go BC. We brought him up on the show already.
Yeah.
BC's a good choice.
If we're going Arizona, my boy right here.
Yeah.
There you go.
My two top picks would be Kruger and Insaniac for a horror film.
And you know who I would...
be great.
Not as the killer, but I would cast Fern Owens in like the like pervy group home owner, which he would be really good. He would be really good, like the non-killer heel.
Yeah.
So none of you liked when he fucking kicked that. He hopped the stairs and he just kicked Homeboy in the back of the fucking head.
Yeah, that was funny.
I don't know. I think my expectations were a little bit. I mean, I was aware. And the weird thing about this one is it's not a shot on video horror film. Portions of it obviously look a certain way because they lost a reel and everything. But there's better SOV stuff that was shot for much less than this that had no real money behind it. So I just can't excuse it. I mean, there's like I said, I get it. You don't have money for like high scale kills, but put somebody in a headlock, pop their eyes out. I mean, there's a lot of funny gags I could come up with off the top of my head. And so yeah, guys, I'll be honest. This one's no cult classic. There are extras on it that are fun, kind of go over the whole history of it, but
I think that it's one of those cases where the history is more entertaining than the actual film.
Yeah,
I'm hoping we don't have the same case when we review Grizzly 2, which has a really troubled history.
Yes.
So
yes,
one of those. We'll be one of the first to cover that one, so we gotta get on that.
There's a few films similar, like I think it's called Bad Meats, one that wasn't completed. Although that one you can see if they didn't have the issues, it was probably going to be pretty good. There's a Jason Mewes one that felt incomplete too.
There is that one that that sex comedy one, and I cannot remember the name that we've been wanting.
Yeah, Jamie Kennedy was in it. A bunch of John Goodman, I think, was in that one. Yeah, it was like shot, and then there was legal issues. It's basically now, I guess, kind of a lost film.
Yeah.
I can't think of the name, Todd, but yeah, I know John Goodman, Jamie Kennedy. There were several names in it of the like early 2000s, I think it was. But yeah,
I'm looking it up while we're talking.
I thought it was funny in the extras. They get like Mean Gene, and it's obviously they probably came up to him at a convention just to do like a little plug for the movie.
Hey, whatever works.
Yep.
And what the fuck was up with the big dude taking that one guy's body? Like that shit made no sense.
I was just assuming he was the one actually cutting up the bodies, but I don't know. I could just be adding headcanon and feeding them to the children.
The scary thing is this is kind of set up for a sequel too.
But I'd watch it.
Jesus Christ.
I'd watch it to see if they could redeem themselves, but I don't know. I'm sure the kills would be better at the very
I hope the kids are like fucking senior citizens at this
point. Yeah. 25 years later, and they're all like just.
Yeah, the other thing I wanted to say too, the bookends were the bookends sucked.
They did.
That they added in
the podcast.
Like, they're so shit.
Yeah,
you should like that since we're on a podcast. But yeah, you're right.
They should have hired us. We would have made it better.
It would have been fantastic.
There you go. Mass Mutilator 2.
Boom.
Oh, we got to get Marty Jannetty in it at this point.
Yes. Yes, we do.
He can be the hero.
All right. So, yes, guys, we hope you've enjoyed this. Again, patreon.com/fleshwoundfeatures, fleshwoundfeatures.com. On Facebook, we are Horror Cartel at the Flesh Wound Radio group, so join that and like the Flesh Wound Features Facebook page. Stalk us on Twitter at Flesh Wound Radio and Instagram and all that good stuff. And that's all I have for you. Until next time, good night.
Good night.